Americans' life savings disappear from Mexican bank accounts. Americans say money they had at Monex is gone and the bank isn't helping them. In late December, Kathy Macier called Marcela Zavala Taylor, her banker of 9 years at Mexico's Monex Casa de Bolsa, to get cash for contractors building her retirement home in San Miguel de Allende. Typically, the transfer didn't happen. Juan didn't show. The scandal has upended the expatriate community in San Miguel, a city of 69,000 about 500 miles south of McAllen, Texas. Mostly retiree, Monex said in a statement that it's looking into accusations against Zavala. Legal action is continuing in the case, and details cannot be disclosed so as not to hinder the investigation. The bank is working. Zavala, who hasn't been charged, said in a phone conversation that she's living in San Miguel but declined to comment further. By instruction of my lawyers, I cannot say anything. Goodbye. Zavala, who worked for Monex about 20 years, became San Miguel's banker of choice by winning over expats with promises of fat returns on accounts she claimed were dollar-denominated and immune to the peso's fluctuations. She was local. The Maciers, after discovering their account had been drained, met Loyola, the outside attorney representing Monex. They say he blamed Kenneth Carger, a retired dentist in Fort Worth with property in Mexico, says Monex owes him about $400,000. He stopped getting. A notarized letter that Carger's attorney sent to top Monex executives on April 15 lists 12 allegations of fraud, including transferring money to people whom the depositors didn't know, making unauthorized investments, and changing account login information. If a relatively related video were to retire abroad for less provided by Money Talks News. Howard Haynes, 83, moved to San Miguel 22 years ago from Kansas City, Mo. Zavala, Monex says it owes him only the money currently in the account, Haynes says. Company official, Allison Posner, a former vice president of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange who lives in San Miguel, says she had trouble getting timely statements from Monex since she opened her account 4 years ago. On December 8, the bank has settled with some customers, but for less than they think they were owed. Corey Gray, Bruce Brown, a retired sound engineer from Australia, says he got his full $250,000 back after filing a complaint against Zavala with the Procuraduría General de Justicia. But after Brown got with Justin Villamil.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.